Lesson 2, Unit 6, the Information Architecture. An information architecture is a set of models, definition, rules, and standards that give a structure and order to a project's information so that information needs can be matched with information resources. Information architecture is also the structure, classification, and organization information within a framework that describes the methods for managing information as a resource. An information architecture may contain several of the following elements: a model information entities and processes, a taxonomy or categorization scheme, standards, definitions, and interpretation of terms, the directories, inventories, resource maps, and description frameworks, and the standards for developing information systems, products, and services. Information architecture helps the organization and its projects by creating systemic, structural, and orderly principles. It helps save resources and time by locating information already available and avoiding creating the same information again, which reduces the time and cost of collecting, storing, and processing project information. The information architecture is a structured organization of all information in an organization, from projects, programs, and the portfolio. Within an information architecture, information access defines the methods by which the project and other key stakeholders can access project information, the type of information the project makes available to the organization, the donor, key project stakeholders, and the general public. Information access also describes the valid or approved locations to get information that can benefit the project. For example, the identification of websites that have a reputation for providing accurate and unbiased information the project can use. Information access. An important goal of the information architecture is to design a system that facilitates the access to information by using different methods and tools to meet the demands of different stakeholders. It is no value for a project to fire information that is difficult to access or that it requires multiple actions or use of complex systems, especially if the information required is needed to inform, educate, and guide project stakeholders. Logistics within a PMIS is defined as the processes and resources required to get the right information to the right people at the right time. Project managers can be successful in identifying and collecting data, but their efforts will be in vain if they fail to make the right information available to those who need it at the time when they need it. Users of information need to receive the information that is relevant to their needs to make decisions about the project. Information needs to be available at the right time. Information that is obsolete or late can cause more harm than good. Information should be made available to all project stakeholders, depending on priority and situation, with a flexible format customized to each user's needs and capacity to access and interpret information. The main objective and concern of information logistics is to supply information to all users, not just data, but also information that users need when they need it and in a format that is useful to use. Project information flows from the sources to the final users. This flow helps explain the different actors and owners of information as it moves from origin to destination. It also helps show where the bottlenecks, redundancies, and shortfalls of information are. It is not uncommon for a project manager, program managers, or donors to receive the same information from different sources. This information flow can be redundant or contradictory. A project needs to determine its current information flow and redesign it for efficiency and accuracy. An information flow also helps identify the transformation of data into information and the required reviews to ensure that information provided is of the quality expected before it is shared with other groups. The information flow can identify the different levels at which information is needed so that the project can customize its content to fit the needs of each level. This graphic shows an example information flow chart. The chart makes it easy to visualize the flow and identify the areas for improvement. An information flow diagram is a useful tool for specifying the boundaries and scope of the PMIS. The diagram shows the boundaries and scope of the system. It interacts with external entities and it shows the main flows of information within the system and within any complex subsystems. The information flow diagram is a simple tool that can be used to document information requirements. They can also be used by a number of other purposes, including information audit findings. Mapping the way information flows is a process for analyzing how information is transferred from one point to another. Its goal is to produce a deeper understanding of the project and its links with its various stakeholders. The benefits of mapping information flows are an understanding of how information is used and by whom, identifies the ultimate user of the various types of information, as well as the information that enters and passes through the project, and it helps focus on the information with the highest potential benefits. An information flowchart is a graphical representation of the information management process within the information architecture. It defines the steps required to collect, organize, store, analyze, report, and use information. It identifies the owners of the different processes, the responsibilities, and the dependencies. A typical information flowchart will describe activities or tasks required to develop a specific type of report or document. The flowchart helps identify the reviews, quality checks, website, and authorizations required before a report or document is shared with another group of information users. Here's an example of information flowchart. A flowchart is a graphical symbol representing of a process. Each step in the process is represented by a different symbol that contains a short description of the process step. The flowchart symbols are linked together with arrows showing the direction of the process flow. Information maps. In practical terms, an information map defines the boundaries of information, connecting project information needs with information sources. It defines what is important and what is not important, giving a high-level definition of where the information is, who owns it, what it will take to have it, and its relevance. It also maps the users of the information. Who are they, when they need information, and how often. An information map contains information about information, including who has responsibility for information, voting ownership and stewardship, who uses information, and how the information is or could be used. An information map is intended to show what kinds of information are kept by the project, where they are, how they are maintained, and how access is provided. Information maps can be developed at several levels of detail. The first map should be a draft intended to give an overall picture of the internal information resources and to suggest where further information may be required. A geographical information system, or GIS, is a visualization of project information in the form of maps. This view allows for a very good visual analysis and interpretation of data. A PMIS could add country information to its database. For example, a country's poverty map can help identify areas the organization can focus in order to create the most impact. The examples show how this information can be presented in a PMIS. A map can be a powerful method of showing information. It provides a simple yet complete view of the context where projects intervene. That information is also useful in presenting proposals to donors. This information helps the coordination and planning of the project resources, helps with the logistics of moving resources, and provides a method to classify the project interventions based on geographical areas such as regions, departments, cities, or towns.